we have the hurdle of hiring, and I want to go through some of the pieces here to help the people who are watching who may be needing some assistance with hiring strategies and new ways to do it. Because let's face it, hiring today is very different than what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or even just 1 year ago. So
changed. It's a whole different world. Back in the day, it was a newspaper classified ad. That doesn't cut it now. That's way we're way past that. And that's some people don't realize that. And you know what? As far as employees, it's difficult. What works? Do you go on a certain website, or do you join a certain group? How do you scan your audience? If I have 50 people that reach out to me, how do you know who's who in the 50? And that's the battle.
From our conversation, it was immediately apparent that we were on the same page with the whole digital world, and taking advantage of the digital world to really filter out who we were spending time with to hire. So an example of that would be regarding the notes. So the modern digital strategies are obviously key. And what are those strategies? What kind of sites do we use? So as an example, I think that two of the key digital pieces of real estate, online real estate, that we use to fish for employees that could help our business is through Craigslist. Craigslist was a discussion point.
We tried it.
What's your experience?
Craigslist, I tell you, we posted a while ago, posted a Craigslist ad, and first thing, you can't feel somebody out. So I don't know if you're replying to me as Judd, the 18-year-old kid that has no motivation, absolutely no desire to work in 100-degree outside, and working with tar that's 400 degrees, or working with asphalt that's 400 degrees, or if you're Judd, the athletic guy that is outdoorsy and is into this kind of work. So we did get rapid replies, but in just talking to people, I could say, all right, you're not the guy we want. And it was so difficult to do I waste my time meeting with dozens of people when out of the dozens, not a single one of them is going to be a match? That it's definitely difficult, because in our industry, it is difficult to find a match. And and I think a lot of that is people don't know what they're involved with.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The Craigslist, I recommend that to anyone. Effective way of finding good guys that fit what we need is the Facebook route. There's a few different reasons I say that. As far as Facebook, plain and simple, 5 minutes, you can click on my profile. You have a pretty good idea who I am. The guy is, he keeps himself pretty decent. He doesn't look like a, what I mean? His face and neck isn't covered in tattoos. This is what he likes to do. Looking at picture, I can click on pictures and say, oh, wow, he's got hobbies. He plays sports, this, that, the other thing. I can see who you're friends with. So if you're
right.
local, I can click and say, well, this is one of his best friends. I read about the guy in the paper all the time. That might be a bad thing. So as far as filtering people out, Facebook is very effective.
Yeah. I see DC just wrote, what's wrong with tattoos? Nothing's wrong.
I'm not talking tattoos, but I'm talking teardrops. I'm talking that kind of stuff.
No, I know.
whole different.
Little humor from DC. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up from somebody. I knew it was going to come up. And again, you're getting a good feel of who the guy is that potentially is going to be your worker.
So, what's really cool is that my wife is sitting right in front of me right now, like she's in the living room, and she just posted something. What about doing intern programs with schools and kids about to graduate? They even work for free until fully trained. They only allow kids that have and want and GPA to apply. So the question is, I don't know what the legalities are around that, but I would assume if it was an internship, maybe not to hire full time, but to help some youngsters get out into the world and also provide you with a helping hand that may transform into a really good moldable employee. So with that being said, I guess my question is, when you're hiring, Jason, do you primarily look to hire somebody who's set in their own ways and has tremendous experience in the industry? Or are you more interested in hiring somebody who is maybe younger and more moldable, or somebody that, I shouldn't say younger or new to the industry?
Exactly.
And
it depends what you're looking for. Here's the difference. If I find a guy and you say, sure, I've steel coated. I've steel coated in the past. I've got 4 or 5 years experience, whatever it is. That's great. But I bring you in as far as our procedure. We pretty much get to a job. We have a certain way we do it. And that's every single time. Now, if I bring you in and you have bad habits,
right.
And you know what? Muscle memory is a crazy thing. So if you're used to doing something for 5 years a certain way, and I say, no, that's not how we do it here, that can get kind of difficult. Whereas if I get a young guy in, a 20-year-old guy who's never ever heard of even seal coating, and I bring him in, first I tell him, hey, just, hold the hose, push the blower, something like that. And he can watch us. Now we can mold him. And we've had a couple of guys that, they were the best, hardest workers. We molded them, and they did exactly what we wanted and what we expected of them. And for us, that was fantastic. So
that's good feedback.
There's pros and cons of both.
Yeah. And I think that that's it's an interesting thing what Ryan just commented too on, regarding the promotional aspect. So good promotion for the company too. So touching back on the internship, maybe you don't do it with everybody, but to maybe speak to a school or communicate with a school where there might be somebody interested in that program. Would that be a good promotional aspect for you, that you hired from a school? You
Sure.
Brought the person in, the student, to help teach them the trade. And would that be good promotion and coverage if you use the digital world to truly spread that message about what you did? So not only are you potentially, helping somebody and training them about a trade, but also you're now potentially being able to employ somebody that's shaping into a good, well-lit employee, and at the same time getting promoted, right?
Sure. That's definitely not a bad idea, to do something like that. And ultimately, it all goes back to what we were talking about. You take that young man or young woman, they're young, they're hungry, and you know what? They start from the bottom, and there's only one way on the ladder they're going to go, and that's up. And that's the most important thing.
Now, it's a delicate topic that Randall just posted, and certainly I think this is open discussion. There's no reason why we can't share our opinion. We're allowed to do that, so let's do this. He writes, what about work release program with local prisons to help rehabilitate them? What are your thoughts on that? And I'll share my thoughts.
As far as that, again, I think it depends what it is.
Right.
And obviously you have to thoroughly know exactly who you're dealing with. But I will say, going back to before when I mentioned tattoos, somebody said, don't judge a book by its cover. I can tell you people that I know personally who were in prison. They went down a bad road, got into something bad, and you know what? They spent some hard time. And they got out, and you know what? It turned them around, and they are the most successful, hardworking people you ever meet in your life. I know them personally, and you know what? That just because somebody was in that predicament doesn't necessarily mean, hey, get him away. But again, I think you really have to vet, who you're talking to.
100%. Yeah, understanding the prospect. Yeah, the potential employee. Exactly.
Sure. But no, it's definitely, you know what? Giving somebody the second chance is definitely the right thing to do. Given that they're not, a hardened life criminal. If it's somebody who has repeat offense after repeat offense, then that might be something different.
So from a hiring perspective, so far I think we're on track for basically knowing that Facebook is the primary spot that you'd go to hire. Facebook groups related to the industry. That is great stuff. In regards to that piece, it still requires a lot of individual interaction. So the business, say you, and the actual person applying for the job,
sure,
you would have a lot of personal interaction one-on-one, right?
Absolutely.
In order to determine if they're a fit. As for the stick side, so let's say that now we've gone through the profiling aspects. We've now said, yes, we're hiring you. What would you say the number one thing is? And this is going to be an interesting one because I know a lot of people have different opinions on this. What is the number one sticking, if there's a chunk of glue that you were going to stick on that employee, what would the title of that glue be?
You mean as what is my method of making you stick?
Would it be money? Would it be incentives?
No. And I'll
bonuses?
tell you what, it's neither of them. A little bit of respect and how you treat somebody is the main key. The main thing is, if you're my employee and I treat you like a complete piece of shit, but I'm paying you good, guess what? It's still not going to keep you. So I can give you incentives, I can give you money, all I want. But at the end of the day, if I treat you no different than I would want to be treated, in how I talk to you and how all around how I treat you, that to me is the most important stick. It's one thing I learned in the service. We did leadership classes and whatnot, and it's one thing I really learned and it stuck with me is how to treat somebody below you. I'll give you an example. If you're my employee, and you can ask the guys that work with us, and they'll absolutely agree, 100%, and I've heard it from them. If you're my employee, and I need you to go and clean something, or I need you to go dig something, do anything, it's very simple. Rather than me say, hey, Judd, get your ass over there and go do that.
Yeah.
Hey, Judd, do me a favor. What's that? Could you go over and do that? Sure, no problem. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks, Judd. And that right there, just how I interacted and how I treated you, ultimately, in this, don't get me wrong, if we're on a big job and we're, in a hurry and stuff, I'm not saying it's always going to be that way. But for the most part, if I treat you like a human with the utmost respect, you know what? That person is going to want to stick around you because, hey, Judd's a pretty good guy. And again, it's not about the money, it's not about the incentives. They help, but a little bit of respect goes a long ways. And you know what? I've had employers that were awful. They treated me like complete dirt. And you know what? They could have offered me $100 an hour. I could have been, as rich as you want to be.
Wasn't worth it.
I didn't want to work for them because it wasn't about the money. It's about how you treat me.
Respect is a is a 7-letter word that's ideal, right?
Absolutely.
So if an employee is taking advantage of an employer where they're not showing up on time or they're not doing work that they've been requested to do, then there's certain things that you can do to give them opportunities to improve, but you also need to set your boundaries. So boundary setting is really important, I think, for both the employee and the employer. The boundaries be set. So recognize when the employees are making progress. So as your guys are improving, let's say they're getting into striping and they haven't striped before, you end up training them on how to stripe, and they may screw up, right? They may screw up, but you teach them how to improve. And so the question is, as they are improving, do you feel that it empowers employees and makes them feel better about being a part of the team when they are indeed recognized and improving?
Absolutely. And that's another big thing as an employer. If you're a young guy, you're working with us, I'm trying to mold you, or we're trying to mold you, teach you how to do a specific thing. I'll tell our guys all the time, like, hey, good job. You kicked ass. That looks awesome. That's exactly what I wanted, that goes a long ways. Shit, I couldn't have made that look as good myself. You did great. When a young guy hears that goes a long way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Randall's been chiming in here. He's a business owner, and he said right here, as the owner of a company, I never ask my employees to do anything that I would not be willing to do myself. Once the employee realizes you're willing to do the grunt work with them in the trenches, it seems to go a long way in my experience. And that I'm sitting here right now on this Facebook Live event right now, and I've got our staff, our team, that is on Facebook Live right now. It's 7:54 p.m. They don't need to be on here. They're on here because they love the team and they're here, and I didn't ask any of them to be there, but they feel like they're part of the team. And I want you guys, feel free to try. So Ricky, I can attest how well Judd treats his man. I appreciate that. That's huge, like that. And that there's no better feeling as the owner of a company who is leading the team, which are as important assets as I am to the company. There's no better feeling than hearing that. I have goosebumps, and thank you for saying that. But that's a really important thing that was just stated there, Randall. I appreciate your input there. One of the things that also I noted was take interested in ideas from your employees, whether they're good or bad.
Sure.
So if somebody has an idea that's creative on how to do something better and provides constructive criticism, take that.
Sure.
And don't push it all, don't fight it, but instead thank you for taking the time out of your life short, man. You took the time out of your life. That's good stuff.
Absolutely. And you know what? Nobody is perfect. Nobody. So you know what? At the end of the day, we're always learning. So at the end of the day, sure, we have things down pretty solid. We're pretty consistent and, like a well-oiled machine. But guess what? We do what we're used to. You might come in and say, hey, have you thought of maybe doing this way? That might save some time. Or, hey, this works a little bit better. You know what? Hey, that's a pretty damn good idea. Let's give it a shot. And that's important. You have to communicate. You have to listen to your employees, because again, I've worked for companies with bosses that you were wrong. We're gonna do it this way, and if you gave them another idea, shut up, get the hell over there. I've been doing this 30 years, okay? And now you feel like a piece of shit because you know what? This guy won't even listen to me. So there's never a time where somebody has an idea and we're not taking them up on it.
Just to wrap things up here, we're getting around the 1 hour mark, and we're going to close things down. But I really hope that there was some takeaways from this. I know that I I've taken away from this, and I feel really, really good about what we've done tonight. And I want to thank you, Jake. I'd like to just go over as we were on here, one of the things, always growing, always looking to improve, always learning, when we're born, we have the opportunity to learn till the time that we die. When you die, that's when you stop learning, right?
And that's huge. Learning, as far as me personally, I've said this before, I do what we love and we love what we do. And that's the truth. I'm always looking for ideas. I'm always looking to network. I'm always, I want to hear what you have to say. And you know what? When somebody like you reaches out and says, hey, could we have a chat on the phone? To me, that means a lot, because you know what? Hey, and then when you say, boy, that's a great idea, that ultimately to me, it's all what I love about the industry. And again, learning is huge.
As I said, I'm always looking to learn. So one of the things I did while we were on here, Jason, was 7 secrets to keeping your employees happy and keeping them, making them stick. And sure. I think that, I'll just go over these key points and then we'll wrap up. But these are really important. So feel free, everybody, to take some notes on this. This is a really good document here. Happy employees are more productive. Happy employees are better leaders. Happy employees are more creative. Happy employees are better team players. And then the seven secrets are this. 1, recognize when employees are making progress. 2, make employees feel like they belong. 3, take an interest in who employees actually are as a person and how they impact your business. 4, make it fun for them. Make it fun. Take them to lunch.
That's huge. That is huge. I have people
take them one-on-one for a burger.
I have guys that work with us and they say, I never thought something like this could be so. We have a blast. We sing, we horse around while getting stuff done. But you know what? But we might be doing a job. We got the radio, rock and roll going in the truck, and have a good time. And it's like, you know what? You have to. You live one time in life.
Man, and I can tell you that truck at the end of the day inside that cab does not smell very good. I've been there before. But anyway, that's the sealer I'm talking about, everybody. It's the sealer. Anyway, that was a little laugh out loud. Number 5, let your employees disengage sometimes. Let them check out for a little vacation if they need a little vacation. If they've earned that vacation, don't be afraid to give them that. Now, I know in the wintertime there's good vacation time, but if you see somebody who's really starting to burn out on you, give them a little bit of time and give them a little bonus, an incentive. Go get a massage,
Sure.
Or whatever. Number 6, encourage exercise and sleep. So sleep is key. I know in the asphalt maintenance world, a lot of the time we go out, we bust our chops all day long. We go for dinner, have a couple of beers, and next thing you know, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and we got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning the next morning. That's not good rest. You got to rest yourself. So make sure that we're encouraging that, right? And the other thing is, number 7, stop calculating everything. If you're going to write a paycheck and it's $3 away from an even Steven number, don't nitpick over a few bucks,
Sure.
And that's the thing, is that everybody, if you want to hire somebody, make sure that you're going through the profiling stages of making sure you're hiring somebody the right way. Discussed that earlier in the video. If you're only chiming in now, feel free to watch the recording. And the second thing is making them stick. Ultimately, make sure that your employees are smiling. Make sure that when they come to work, they're wearing your team shirt. I want my staff. I want my staff to come, and I want them wearing a
That's
shirt.
it.
I want them.
They got that pride. If once they're there, like you said, they're part of the team. It's never I or mine. That's not my job. It's our job. We just completed that job. We kicked ass. I didn't kick ass. We're a team. So, and that's huge. But when you have that employee that shows that pride, that we get done and they're pulling their phone out, they're taking a picture, and they're talking about it to their friend, and I hear about it. It's like, to me, that's huge. That's the guy you want.
totally. And you know, we all have the ability once we've hired somebody to be able to give them the best opportunity to succeed. As an employer, we have to give them the opportunity to succeed. And
that's it.
Really it. Now, if you truly wanted to get rid of somebody or have them quit, all you have to do at the end of the season is ask them to clean the seal coat tank, and then it's over.
That's it.
Charles Baker. Well put. That was a quote from Charles Baker right there, everybody. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for joining.